So we homeschoolers are always talking about curriculum and resources and following our kids' interests and all that stuff. But what about you? What about you, the homeschool parent? What are your interests? What are your passions? And are you incorporating them into your homeschool? So in today's video, I want to talk to you about what my passion is, and some of you already know it's history, and why I think you should incorporate your passions in your homeschool. And before I forget, I just want to let you know that this video is part of a Homeschool Show and Tell collaboration hosted by Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica from the Waldock Way. And I'm sure you guys subscribe to them already, so make sure you check out the playlist down below. So let's get into it. All right, so as a former middle school history teacher, I am passionate about history. I didn't major in it, but I did minor in it in college. I could have majored in it, but I didn't want to take another semester of school. I wanted to be done, so a minor was good enough. I just love history. I've always have, and I think it's because my dad was passionate, or is passionate, about history and geography and all that. And so that passion kind of, not so much became I guess maybe my passion. I don't know, because I have other passions too besides history. And one of the reasons why I wanted to homeschool my kids is so that we could dive deeper into history, because it's so hard to do that in the traditional school system. And then on top of that, there were a lot of budget cuts and couldn't go on field trips with my kids. And if I had kids, I always thought about all the different field trips we could take, that related to whatever historical topic that we are into. I personally think that history is a really important subject that everyone should be studying, because it explains our world and how we got to where we are right now. It teaches us about different perspectives, about different cultures, about different, belief systems. It teaches us about everything, and it's important to know how our world works, both the good and the bad. We can't just focus on the good. We got to talk about the bad too. Of course, age appropriate. We don't need to go into deep detail with like little kids, etc. Use your best judgment. But we do need to talk about it because it's part of our history. Those of us that don't learn from the past, what's that saying? See, me and my idioms, I can't remember. Colloquialisms or idioms, what do you call it? Those of us that don't learn from our past are bound to relive it or something. I don't remember, but you know what I mean. So history is just so fascinating and so important for us to learn. I think having teachers or parents that are educating their kids passionate about a subject really lends to the subject matter a bit more. When someone is exuding passion about it, they're really into the topic, it gets you excited about it. It gets your kids get excited about it. So I think homeschooling is a great opportunity for us parents to teach history to our kids, because you just don't get enough of it in the traditional school system. I know not all elementary schools really teach history, or if they do, it's just very superficial. You don't dive deep into it. And then you get to like middle school and history, where they do teach history, but if you don't have that teacher that's totally passionate about it, you're not going to be really into it. If you have one of those teachers, and I've had a couple of them, where they just have you open up the textbook and outline it, like I don't know anyone who's going to be enthralled with history if they have to do that. And so at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can incorporate like some fun activities when you are teaching history. But before that, I really want to get into why I think you should lean into your interests and your passions when you're homeschooling your kids. So the first reason why I think you should lean into your interests, which we kind of already talked about earlier, is that you'll enjoy it and your kids will enjoy that you're enjoying it, and it's just, it just kind of feeds upon each other. Enjoying what you are teaching just makes it so much more fun, and the kids get into it, and it's just, everyone's motivated to do the work. Whereas if you're not really into teaching the subject, like for me, I don't enjoy teaching math, and that is why I don't teach it anymore, and why I have my kids do an online program and have classes with a math teacher, because the math teacher is very passionate about the subject. And so ever since I did that, my oldest son now loves math, whereas before, when I was teaching math, he did not love it. And I did not love teaching it. But he does love history and geography, which is something I love to teach. The second thing is when you're teaching a subject that you love, you're more likely to explore different ways to teach it, to make it more fun and interactive, to meet your child's learning style, etc. That's pretty awesome, like to integrate the different learning modalities when you're teaching a subject, because it just brings more, it makes it more interesting, it makes it more interactive. And the third reason why you should lean into your passions is that you're going to have a deeper understanding about the topic, and so therefore you will be able to explore it much more in depth with your kids. And if they have questions, you're more apt, even if you don't know the answer, you're more apt to research the answer and like really dive in and get to understand the topic or the subject. Lean into your interests. You don't always just have to be all standard and do the basic subjects that everyone is supposed to be learning when they're in school, the classical subjects or whatever you want to call it. And just really lean into what you're into, and then you can even incorporate the other subjects based on what you're into. Like, since we love history, we also incorporate science, and sometimes we can even incorporate math when we're calculating populations, and we're studying about wars and calculating death totals and etc. We can incorporate art into our study of history. So what are you passionate about? And how can you incorporate other subjects into your passion? Homeschooling is not just about the kids. You are a major part of the equation. Depending on you, homeschooling will either be a win or a fail, to be honest. Like, if you don't enjoy being with your kids, then you're not going to enjoy homeschooling. If you don't enjoy the subjects that you're teaching, you're not going to enjoy homeschooling, and then your kids aren't probably going to enjoy it either. Now let's talk about some fun ways that you can incorporate history in your homeschool, or at least some fun historical activities. Probably the easiest and one of my favorites is to use interactive resources that you find online, and that would be like websites, because you can do like virtual field trips. You can, there's like a lot of times there are video games or even board games based on the historical topic that you are studying. And if you need ideas, I do have a game schooling video on U.S. history, I think it is, and I'll put more up. I'll make more of those if you're into. Just let me know. There's interactive timelines, interactive maps. There's just so many interactive tools that you can use that are found online. I apologize for the bad lighting. I am in the car waiting for my son to get out of his art class. It's easier just to wait. It's just like one town over, but at the time of day that it is, it would take, by the time I get back home, I would have to leave to come back because of all the traffic. So I just decided to stay and do all the things that I need to do in the car while I'm here. So one of those things is making these videos. So the next tip I have for you is to try to incorporate real life experiences when you're teaching history. So real life experiences can be like reenactments, like a Civil War reenactment, which we are going to, I think this weekend, which I'm excited about, or like a Revolutionary War reenactment. Take your child to historical reenactments or to field trips to historical sites that have, reenactment type of activities, hands-on activities, to get like a real life taste of what life was like during that time. They have them all over the world. You just have to look into it and to see what's available. Here locally, there's an old stagecoach that we can visit, and on the weekends they have volunteers, they have docents that do reenactments, and the kids can get in there and stack wood or make food or go to school and do all different things. Another way you can make history come alive is by utilizing primary sources. You can get a reproduction of an item. History by mail and historic cartoons. Those are replicas of primary sources that you can get and you can use in your homeschool. You can also go to museum. You can look at actual historic artifacts, and then you can even make it easy and just go through your own family's like heirlooms, have your kids research about them, and then when you do that, your kids are learning about historical research, an important tool to have in their critical thinking tool belt. And then just developing those research skills now, working on them, it'll make it much easier when they are in high school and really have to do a a true research paper. So I hope you remember that homeschooling is a really great opportunity to lean into your interests, like mine is history. So lean into whatever you love and incorporate other subjects based on your interests. Even if your kids don't end up being super passionate about it when they get older, they will have an appreciation for it. So your passion will fuel their passions. I hope this video has inspired you to lean into your interests when homeschooling your kids. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.